Good morning, David. In Australia, you are going live right now, so have a great show.
Good morning, everyone, and I'm seeing all your beautiful comments. Assel and Kim, welcome. And Stu, welcome from California. So how are we today? How's the day going? How are you managing all these energies and thoughts and ideas swimming around the universe? What's important to you? And remember to define your experience as well and appreciate your uniqueness and not get too caught up in what's happening. I know I also get caught up in what's happening in the world sometimes and disconnect from who I am, what I'm here to experience, and what I'm here to do is valid. And all of you have a valid input, a valid experience, a valid point of view. Call it a unique point of view. And if you think of a diamond and you think each facet is making that diamond so beautiful, and that's what humanity is, and we're each here to contribute in our own unique way and live the best life for ourselves and for our communities. This week I've been doing mindfulness at university, so I'm busy with mindfulness at university. And so I'm actually breaking away from class and to be with you. So I'm a bit naughty to break away from my class. And so what was coming to me today, actually even yesterday, was a lack of mindfulness. So it's interesting. I'm studying mindfulness, but I'm suffering from a lack of mindfulness, and I feel that's just because I'm quite busy and my mind is a bit cluttered, and that's creating this things that I'm doing. I'll give you a couple of examples. Yesterday I went to a coffee shop or cafe and met someone, and then I was called to go somewhere else, and then I came home quickly, and then I went somewhere else, and I was looking around for my sunglasses, and I spent about an hour searching for my sunglasses and thinking, oh, did I leave them in the coffee shop? I think I may have left them in the coffee shop. And searching my mind for where I left these sunglasses. And I'm sure you've had similar experiences in your lives of losing things or thinking you've lost things, and it's quite a feeling of displacement sometimes. It cause agitation and unease and a sense of in the Buddhist sense I would call dukkha, the dissatisfactoriness of the world. There's a sense of suffering of what something's out of alignment. Why I need those sunglasses because here we have quite a bright sun, and where are they? And then today, what did I? Oh, so I left out the next thing. I looked everywhere. And I just searched and searched and searched, and then what happened was they were on my bed. My sunglasses were on my bed, and I guess I completely missed them. However, all was good. I just come home quickly from the coffee shop, put them down, and then gone off and continued with the day. And so that was kind of a positive feeling. But what happened this morning was I had a shower, got up, ran downstairs, put the kettle on, and then I think I got dressed, came back, and then I was making something. I actually have some lemon in the morning. I was preparing my lemon, and then I was thinking, where did I put my phone? And I spent about half an hour, 45 minutes searching for my phone, upstairs, downstairs. And I couldn't understand. I thought, and then repeating the same thing. And I thought, but I've looked everywhere. And I went outside, inside, outside, all over them. And where was my phone? And, I repeated this so many times that, and then I was sort of using my brain. Could it be here? Could it be under things? Looking on the floor, looking in the fridge. Ultimately, I actually it was on a it was on a blanket, on a cushion, on a chair, and it was lost in the sort of shadow of that, in the darkness of that. So, I need to get a pink phone. I reckon a pink phone would have stood out. And so that phone, I I just couldn't find it. So this is all linked to a lack of mindfulness. Although I'm studying mindfulness, I'm finding more and more examples of lacking mindfulness. And this mindfulness is paying attention to what's going on in your life. And this can be really create a lot of suffering if you leave things behind. And Stu's saying you've been doing a lot of that lately. And this is also even, I mean, I had more examples today. So I think I'm just not very mindful today. Too much is going on. I I had a pair of underwear waiting for me, and that pair of underwear completely vanished. That's another thing. Like, where is that underwear? I have no idea. I'm sure I prepared it about 3 times, and then I often put clothes ready for myself to put on, and that underwear disappeared. It vanished. So um, a lot of things disappearing, and I'm sure it hasn't actually disappeared, because where could that underwear go? I don't have an underwear fairy. It's just keeps pointing to my lack of mindfulness today. Maybe there's some energy around in the universe, and I think we're all feeling quite a sense of the clutter, quite a sense of the intensity of energies that are swallowing things up. And Stuart, you're saying it's like a black hole that comes around. Amanda, I'm going up, not down. Amanda, what's going on tonight? I feel there's a message for me here tonight. And welcome, Amanda. It's wonderful to have you, Amanda. And messages are coming through. So my message today is just to be slow down, take a deep breath, meditate, be more mindful, and just sort of let go and laugh at myself as well. Laugh at myself. Otherwise, the world's going to be overwhelming and way too serious. So, what actually is mindfulness? Because some of you may not. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the concept, but some of you may not be familiar. And it has a lot of different meanings and definitions. And essentially, it's making visible or making explicit that which would otherwise be invisible, or otherwise be offset or occluded or unable to be seen. So making explicit that which you may not be aware of. It's also being aware of that which is explicit. So I just gave you a definition of a deeper sense of mindfulness, but it's also being mindful of the things that are right in front of you, the wall in front of you, or the phone that's your phone, that's a solid object. So if you're dropping your phone, for instance, that's another example of a lack of mindfulness. And I'm sure you would think of many other examples, and times when mindfulness is very important. So if you're driving a car or operating some kind of machinery, it's very, very important that you're mindful, because without mindfulness, accidents could occur. Something could go wrong. So mindfulness can be life-saving, or it can just be seeing more, uncovering what is already there that you didn't quite see. So there's different senses of mindfulness, different utility, or different contexts within which mindfulness is used and can be used. And it does reflect our sense of conscious awareness of the present moment, of truly being here right now. And that's what a lot of the masters talk about, this sense of being here now, of being in this present moment with this self that we occupy, which the Buddhist understanding of the self is that is empty too. So, and I think I'm sort of moving around topics a little bit, but I think part of the sense of mindfulness must also acknowledge that being mindful of other people, being mindful of our community, being mindful of our connection with other people. So our mindfulness is not used purely about ourselves or purely about our own selfish needs or desires, our own individualism, of having a true sense of interconnection, which we often lose. So I'll give you an example to illustrate this point. Is I have a cup of tea, as a lot of you know, I do love my tea. And how did this tea enter into my life? Well, it comes in a mug or a cup. So that mug or cup I bought, I actually remember buying it in a shop, in a local community shop. And I paid money for it. All right, that's not a big story. But where did that cup originate? It was actually, this cup was manufactured in a factory. It's not handmade. It's like many things we use, they come from a factory. And I'm presuming that this factory is not in it's not here. It's likely in China. I'm just going to look and see the label, which says made in China. And it also has a label from the shop where I bought it. So I can see the shop where I bought it. But just thinking of that shop where I bought it, someone put that on the shelf. It came from a box. So that's how these things work. They come from a box, and someone actually has to decide where we're going to put that cup. We'll put it in the cup section and put a price on it. It's someone also has created a system that I can spend money and purchase this. And someone working in the shop was able to help me purchase this item. So already there's a lot of processes and people involved. But just to continue, how did that box arrive in the supermarket from China? Well, it came on a ship, and probably it didn't come from Shanghai. The factory could have been anywhere in China. I have no idea. But it had to be transported from somewhere in China to the port to be delivered to the ship. Someone had to carry that box onto the ship and mark it off, and there had to be a paperwork involved, payments processed. So just putting a cup on a ship, that could have taken weeks, months, who knows? I mean, and it could have been on a truck, on a vehicle, possibly, that someone put it in a box, or people put it in a box, and then there was a whole process of getting on the truck in order to transport it to the coastline, in order to place it onto a ship. So I mean, this could go on and on almost endlessly to show the interconnections, the people involved, how we are dependent on so many processes, so many people's work, so many people's efforts, so many people working for a cause. And all of this is not to even think about the tea that I have. So someone was growing that tea. I'm just looking at the label. This is a British tea that's probably grown in Sri Lanka. I think, I forget the label. I did read it before. I think it was a range of teas grown in Asia, which are once again delivered all the way to the United Kingdom, where they are packaged and put together and branded and put into these wrappers or these tea bags, and then those tea bags are put into a box, and that box is wrapped up, is enclosed, again transported to the coastline, wherever that is, to where the ship is. The ship is waiting for that tea, and on board the ship comes the tea. It could have come another way. Perhaps it was flown via an airplane. That's another option. I'm not a shipping expert. I don't know too much about shipping, and maybe some of you would contribute it. I'm getting a bit off, going off on a bit of a tangent here, to deconstructing the tea in front of me, deconstructing the things that perhaps I take for granted, to actually get here, even the water that I had to boil to make the tea, all the processes involved in boiling water. You think, well, where did the water come from? How did it get here? How is that managed? How is that created? How is that put in place? How is that maintained? How about the electricity to warm or heat up the water? How did that occur? So, and it goes on and on. I don't want to bore you with more and more details because we have limited time, and I'm just reading the comments. How do you sense stars? Welcome, Melissa Frey. That's great to see you. So this show, usually I have a little bit of a topic involved. I love to read your comments and see what's going on, and then we get on to readings. We also, if we have time, do a bit of meditation. That's always helpful. And I'm reading our Afia, Pascal. So welcome back, Afia. Great to see you. I'd love to hear your comments. Melissa, I said hi to you. Amanda Lee, hello again. And Stuart, I think I read that already. I'm repeating myself. And I'm just getting to these comments. So Amanda Lee, exactly what I'm practicing now. Thank you. And I don't know what Logan Andrews, I don't know who that is. Oops, I just lost you. Speaking of mindfulness, and thank you again. Shared with everyone, you're correct. So thank you, Amanda. And this idea of interdependence is very important, that whatever we think is ours is dependent on other processes, other people, other creations. It's even gravity. We're dependent on gravity, so we rely on so many things, and without that we will just not live. We'll not be able to live. Even things like the air we breathe, or how did that come here, and what processes are involved to keep that going. And Amanda Lee, that's your son, Logan. That's cool. And so part of the mindfulness is seeing. So mindfulness is seeing, and seeing is a big word, because as I discussed, what are we seeing? What perspective are we bringing to what we see? Do we see that hardworking person who's trying to feed his family, or do we see something else? We can see an infinite array, virtually anything we can see with our perception. It comes down to us, what we see, what we observe. And in my room, even in the room I'm in, there's so many things I could look at. And mindfulness, we can observe a single pointed object, which in Buddhism, shamatha, is quite a common form of meditation, just observing the breath, for instance. And insight comes from, intertwined with that is vipassana, which is insight, where we are intertwined with that object, and then we start having some wisdom or some insight or some thoughts that are derived or connected to that object. So seeing is really important. What are we seeing? What are we seeing within ourselves? What are we seeing outside ourselves? Wholesome action, not just psychologically or ecologically, but also wholesome within our thoughts, within our thinking, within our camaraderie, within our generosity to other people. And this is really tested. The litmus test perhaps is when we disagree with someone. When someone you disagree with says something, do you abuse them, or make them into a caricature? Do you get angry? Do you demonize them? Do you lessen them as a human being? Do you invalidate them? Because this is often what I've experienced. People, instead of arguing a point, an idea, an ideology, they try to defeat the person. They say, "Oh, you this, you that." Start labeling the person. Start trying to crush the person instead of actually looking at the argument. And there's straw man arguments as well. Trying to demean the deliverer of a point of view and say, "Oh, you're hopeless. You," instead of actually looking at that point of view and analyzing and assessing it and really giving it our mindfulness, our time and space. So we do this all the time as human beings in our modern society, just relationally. How are we relating to other people? How are we being mindful of other people? How are we acknowledging them, and also within ourselves acknowledging their cogent points of view, their validity to have that point of view? Because I do feel, for myself and for collectively, often the Western modernity has created this sense of righteousness, of me being right, or me being having a right to whatever it is I'm thinking, or whatever it is I'm wanting. And I'm hearing a lot of this righteousness. I desire this, I desire that, and that is my right to have it. And even relationally, people put this on other people, and they say, "I have a right to be married," or "I have a right to get this from my husband," or "I have a right." And there's a lot of this rights and not a lot of responsibility. So asserting rights is fine. It's just being mindful of the balance, and being mindful of the importance of the balance, and acknowledging other people. And if you think you have a right, what about other people? Where do they fit in with that? So there's cognitive elements, there's philosophical elements, there's spiritual elements to mindfulness. There's an element of the cognition of the brain, of functioning in the world, being mindful. So there's just so many aspects. And Bridget, so I'm just seeing who wants a reading. Bridget, we're doing tonight's reading. Yeah, I'm going to get on the readings, and we'll start with you, Bridget. I'll do a very brief meditation. And Amanda, I was curious, you shared your son's name. Was that because just you were thinking of him, or I think you were just saying you shared because he's like you? Thanks for sharing, Amanda Lee. And so we'll do some readings. Let me know if you'd like a reading. I do want to do a very quick meditation, because I know sometimes I talk way too much, and we're also doing readings. So I invite you to do a quick meditation, just to find more of a presence of mindfulness in what we have here to do, what we're doing, and invite more of a spiritual elevation into your life. So I think talking about topics, listening to someone talk about topics, can get one quite in one's head. And what I like to do is introduce people to having a mindfulness of the heart, or a heart-based mindfulness. So as I said, I could talk about mindfulness quite extensively, and we could go in so many different directions. But bringing our mindfulness into our hearts instead of having a mindfulness in our head. So I just listen to how a lot of people perceive reality and how they speak about their lives, and often the problem they're having is that they're speaking with the head and not the heart. I'm sure you've heard this before. So mindfulness of the heart. So let's, I'm just going to put on a bit of sound. And gently closing your eyes, taking in a beautiful breath. And as you become mindful of your breath, start to put all your attention on this breath experience. Immersing yourself in the feeling of your breath, whatever that means to you. Acknowledging your own experience of breathing is unique to you. And as we breathe, softening our bodies and minds, keeping a straight back if you are sitting on a chair. Together we will spend a couple of minutes simply enjoying the mindfulness of our breathing. Enjoying the mindfulness of our breathing. I will be silent to allow yourself to become fully immersed in this joyfulness of breathing. Starting to come back into your physical body, moving your hands and feet. You may want to stretch out your body, taking in the light and the temperature of the room. And gradually you may bring yourself back. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you so much for your attendance today and being here. And we're going to start with Bridget. So Bridget, we'll do a reading for you. Assel, we'll do you next. If anyone else would like a reading, just put in the comments section. And I'm just reading Amanda Lee's comments. So you were thinking of your son, and yeah, it's I've really enjoyed talking about mindfulness today, and feel free to write your experience in the comments section. And if you've done a lot of meditation, if you've done a lot of yoga, how your mindfulness is, how you experience mindfulness, what you feel, what is meaningful to you about mindfulness. And focusing in on Bridget, I'm going to pick some cards for you, Bridget. Just looking at your picture, you got some hearts. I'm seeing some hearts there. That's beautiful hearts. And so we can do Amanda after Assel. Okay, so there's actually a beautiful card for you. It's a beautiful card for you, Amanda. It's about the sweetness of life, and I think mindfulness. You could put that mindfulness. You could put a lens on your mindfulness. We do put a lens on our mindfulness, so it's connected to this topic. We think of. That's what it's saying. Surrender to the sweetness, and shift your orientation. Use your orientation towards the sweetness. I'm going to see if there's more cards for you coming through, Bridget. And this is really getting highlighted here with these cards, Bridget, of surrendering to the good things. It's encouraging you to appreciate the things you have and shift your orientation. So it's saying that it's really important to shift your orientation or your perspective in how you see things, and kind of let go of the small things. Get into the beauty of the beauty of the flowers, for instance, because you think of a rose and you think often there's thorns come with the rose, so you could prick your finger if you hold up a rose. A rose smells so wonderful, and the colors are so beautiful. All the different roses are something that comes through the prickly branches, and those prickly branches of difficulty, of challenge, of hardship. So pause to experience the blessing of the single flower. And yeah, as I said, there's some thorns, and that flower grew through those thorns. The sun is breaking through the clouds, so there's a lot opening up for you. But it's telling me that you have a lot to be grateful for, and there's more beautiful things coming to you. There's a sense that you have accomplished, or you've gone through a lot. There's a sense that you've overcome a lot. So there's spirit is saying that there is a success to celebrate. There is a triumph and accomplishment to be mindful of. So those cards are linked together, all of them, and they connect to the same concept of allowing yourself to appreciate the good things, allowing yourself to acknowledge the good things that you've achieved and the victories on every level. And that's an endorsement that you've come clean, you've got clean off drugs. So that's a very very challenging for any person who's experienced addictions. It's a very, very challenging thing. The mind, usually the brain is sort of wired in a way to it's basically wired that you're addicted, and so it's very, very hard to overcome that, and just to be clean and to live in a way that is productive in other ways. It's a big it's a big experience, and a lot of people have addictions through previous lifetimes. It's very common. It's very common, and so just acknowledging that, Amanda, and sorry, Bridget. I was just reading your comments, Amanda. I was getting confused. Bridget, there is a door to spirit. So there is a spiritual awakening happening here, and it's telling me that these hard experiences, these obstacles are really breaking. It's like breakdown towards breakthrough, if that makes sense. So there's something about breaking through, and that being a door to spirit. So you're breaking through towards spirit, and there's a lot of power in that, and potential and value, and there's a surprising potential changes happening here in your being, in your core, because spirit's presence is more powerful than you realize. So your own healing practices are coming out, and this is it's a new path of wisdom and holding the portal within you, and spirit is supporting you to hold that portal. So very powerful, Bridget, and I wish you lots of good wishes and lots of blessings, and thank you so much for coming through today. So just clearing the energy now. I'm reading Amanda's. I'm just laughing at Amanda. My first ghost was a David. I'm planning to visit our old home in the Boston Mountains. He had a good presence. So thank you for sharing that, Amanda. And we're gonna do a reading for Assel, and thank you, Assel, for coming in, and for your pink wave. Carlos, I forgot to say hey, how are you? And thank you for coming in, Carlos, and for sharing. And that's great to have you, Carlos. I think you've changed your image. It looks very rich and colorful. I love that. It's always interesting what people choose to share. And all right, Assel, you say you're here. That's great. So let's see what's coming through for Assel. Okay. Okay, let's see. I'm just picking from another deck. I feel, Assel, that been a period of dormancy and a little bit sort of hidden away, and this is saying that you're being called to step up and sort of become more visible in the world, I would say, because your soul gifts and training have led up to this, and there's a doorway for you to walk through. And so Assel, yeah, it's time to kind of to step up and be more visible in the world, and that's different levels. It can mean different things for you. I feel like even showing us your picture would also be part of that. Is showing yourself in the world is. But I'm picking other cards, and there's a man holding a heart. There's a lot of sort of looking outwards, and I feel like sometimes look inward as well. I think you do that, but sometimes you look outward. It's almost like very whimsical looking. Those energies are within you too. So whatever you're seeing outside, remember that to bring that within. Remember that's already there. Those gifts are there. That magnificence is actually within you as well. So don't just look out. Also look in. And I feel like you understand what I mean by that. There is a man holding a heart, and I'm just looking into what that card means for you, Assel. Yeah, I feel like this is representing getting greater clarity about your emotions and how they serve you, what purpose they have in your life, and becoming more aware of your sense of self and your connection to yourself, and also keeping in mind the balance required for you to balance your family and love at right now, because there's been some confusing experiences in the past. But I feel like you're a thoughtful person and aware and sensitive, and you have high intuition already. It's just about being comfortable with your emotions and honoring and expressing them in appropriate ways, and bringing peace into your emotional life. So there's some healing there to do to bring peace into your emotional life, and to cut ties with some of the events of the past and bring them white light, bring them balance, bring them. I feel like it would help you to have rose quartz around you, which is for the heart. Beautiful color of rose quartz. So that would help you, Assel. There are people who care about you, and so really acknowledge those caring connections around you. It does feel there's more coming to you, more blossoming friendships, and even a new karmic connection coming to you. So open your heart to a new friendships, to new love. Really open your heart to that coming into your life. And thank you so much, Assel, for sharing and for coming forward today. And we're going to move on to Amanda Lee. So Amanda Lee, thank you for all your comments. And you're going to check out Artist Point. That sounds very sacred, Amanda. So there's a real connection happening here, a transitional period, and a connection to your ancestry. So of course, sometimes we forget, and mindfulness is also encompasses our ancestors, where we come from. We don't appear in this world without all the other people that came before us. And if you just think back, you could write down some of your ancestors and their energy, and how they're watching over you and celebrating you and supporting you in this world. Amanda Lee, thank you for sharing. And let's just connect to your energy and pick a card for you. So there's definitely a connection to land, to ancestry, to lost lands, to soul memories and gifts. So there's a message here that you've done this before, you've been here before. A lot of remembrance happening now. It's you're becoming aware of this connection consciously. You may have felt it before, but it's becoming more clear to you. You know, the world is very ancient, and our souls have repeatedly come here and experienced different eras on the planet, different times on the planet. And this isn't the first time we've been here. And remembering the gifts that these experiences have brought to your life, remembering where the Earth stands, the timeline of human civilization. We need your wisdom to keep going as a species, to really fulfill our purpose and destiny in the world. So you're here as a harbinger, as birthing a new creation, bringing a new idea to life. It does feel like sometimes you're doubting yourself, you're feeling like you're not prepared, but you are prepared. This card is saying you've been here before. The wisdom of the gatekeepers is with you. Your intuitive hits are powerful. You're receiving divine guidance, and there's an angel hovering over you, and it's whispering in your ears. So just listen, Amanda. Listen to the messages you're receiving. I feel like there's some lost lands that you're here to explore, that you're here to uncover another dimension, perhaps some kind of ancient lands that you're here to connect to. And these exist within your soul. So remember that they exist within your soul. So surrender to the intelligence of your soul to unearth the forgotten wisdom within you, because these soul gifts are given to you from past lifetimes, and they're here for you to express in the world. So I feel like there's some connection here where almost like we need to hold your hand, Amanda, and support you across the river or across the terrain. And it's about stepping into something that you have within you. So it's really exciting, Amanda. I'm feeling really excited around you, and I'm happy you came in today. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And I do love my tea, and I could have kept talking about tea because it's a big topic in mindfulness. Being grateful for this tea and how it came into existence, and how everything comes into existence. There's so many processes involved, so many people involved, so many levels, and so be really grateful for each part of your life, even the little things. And my parting message to everyone, thank you so much for being here, and lots of love to everyone. See you next week, and you can contact me on YouTube. I'm not always super active on YouTube, but I'll see my comments, and through heal.me you can also book a private personal reading. And thank you, Amanda Lee. Hold my hand. So sending love to Amanda. And thank you for coming. So lots of love, everyone. See you next week.